Matt here with another banging video before I do some yoga. um, I don't know. I just wanted to talk briefly about how interesting it is to go back to your roots and talk with the people that kind of grew you in a way. So basically, I've came back home for the holidays from where I'm going to school, and I just reconnected with an old friend that I used to go through to undergrad with. I connected with, I guess, an old mentor, a professor, and honestly, it just was so nice, so beautiful to see. Like, well, for my friend, he's someone that I always connected with deeply on like mathematics. And it's just so fun to see him go explore that world and chase after the joy of life, you know, to chase after your goals, where your goals be something that's you actually care about, you know. So much people become one-dimensional when work becomes life. But for him, he made his work just something that he enjoyed. He loves what he does, and that is what his job is. But then after his job, he still has interests. He still is a joy for life. He still loves his mathematics. He goes out to conferences for math. He just has fun, you know? And it's just cool to see because he was many years older than me. He got out of the program, the engineering program that I was in, like maybe 3 years before I did, 4 years before I did. So he's been unbounded by the world, for that long. And it's just so fun to see that, you really can create a world for you that you want. And what it takes is for you to just listen to yourself. What do you want from this life? Listen. When was the last time you've asked yourself that? Just sat. Asked yourself, what do I want? We're so occupied with living and surviving from our job and, just keep going. We forget to question why it is we even continue to go. Because if all my needs are met and I can still eat, then why am I pushing for the concept of more? Why not push for the concept of more in terms of the depth of your enjoyment? Why aren't you pushing towards activities in a life that you genuinely want to be a part of? And I think it's just because you forget to. You don't really remember to ask yourself that all the time. So I would encourage you to just do that. For me, I've been in my graduate degree now, and I'm graduating finally again because I was in undergrad. So I'm opening to a new world of possibilities, and I've deeply questioned my own value systems and what it is that I sought. I always thought I would be an entrepreneurial type because I love to create and build and name it. I want to do it, but I realized that entrepreneurship is something I do not want to pursue if it's a business that started for the sole sake of money. Because I can see for my own self, money is not the conduit towards happiness, If I'm looking towards a happiness world, maybe my startup could be something that just makes me happy, but I'm not optimizing for maybe profit. I'm instead optimizing for engagement and enjoyment from whatever it is that I do, or social change, or etc., But it's not started for the sole sake of money. And, I've always thought I wanted to do something for money, but I just can't bring myself to do it because I just can see the future where I'm still unhappy. I had this really interesting idea many years ago, before all the slop on the internet, the generated content. I was generating my own content with my own code 5-6 years ago, and I was pulling in millions of views. And I was in the middle of figuring out how to monetize it, but I just couldn't help myself to do it because I was thinking about my values. When I'm sitting there coding this thing, I am directly contributing to the world which I do not want. I do not want people to be addicted to content. I do not want people to waste their time, waste their hours just brain rotting or stimming, and there's a point to be said. Maybe it is entertainment, there's a place for entertainment, but I just think that is something I can't do. I cannot offer the world that style of entertainment. I am happy to offer entertainment if it came in the form of like education or whatnot, but I can't just create this mindless content. So it was a great idea, but I just lost all motivation to pursue such a entrepreneurial endeavor. I didn't want to do it just for the money, because money is the means to an end. And I had enough money such that my basic needs are met, and so now it's in the past, and I have other entrepreneurial ideas, but they honestly just don't excite me. I don't know if it's just because my values are maturing or whatnot, or I'm becoming more in tune with who I am. That might be it. Because what excites me instead is creating something that's fun, creating something that's actually creative, that I genuinely can find some quality in pursuing, instead of finding this project just for the sake of money. I've always was so curious about drop shipping and these quick ways to make money, these schemes, do your surveys, you can make a couple bucks. But it just never resonated with me because there's no quality in that. Why not pursue something at which you can find some quality in? And I think that's what I've realized. It's a waste of your time and energy and everything if you are seeking and doing something that is just a low quality activity. Unless you are supporting this family on your back and you're trudging through the swamps, that's a good reason. But are you doing that? Are you finding this quality? So I don't know where this conversation was flowing, but it's just reconnecting with old friends and a professor who saw you when you were much younger, when you're a child, and who's excited to hear about your exploration in the world, and when you're going off to greener pastures and you want to do this and that and that. And I think he was very happy to hear that it was not just money and fame or whatever that I'm seeking. He understood that I wanted to seek something deeper, seek something that actually resonates to my core, find something that I actually care about. Because believe me, I have started so many projects in my life, but they've all stopped because I never actually cared about them. I was thinking about the only goal of money or something, but I can eat food. I have a job. I work. I have money, quote unquote, but I don't not need an infinite amount of money. What I need is to be stimulated and engaged in this life so that I actually can have some fun, develop my own individuality and personality, to like shape me into someone that I actually want to be friends with, instead of shaping myself into just a gray blob, you know? So that's just a little reflection for today. I am really excited to check in with myself. That was a song I was listening to. When was the last time you checked in with yourself? So just wanted to check in with myself, and I feel like you should offer yourself some energy to also check in with yourself. Peace. I'm Matthew.